it is important to balance things. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy weekend. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast, but my last trip to Israel, I spent the day in this beautiful village in the northern part of Israel, in this Druze village, Druze, Druze village called Pekin. And I have a friend that lives there, and I met him on my first trip, and we've remained in contact. And, I got the chance to go up there. It was a long drive, but it was well worth it. And got the chance to go up there, meet his family, and walk around this. It was like a movie set. It's literally like a movie set. Like set designers, set decorators they'd be just salivating if they saw this village in Pekin. It was incredible. So old, so beautiful, so unique, so historic. The history's just right there. You don't even need any explanation. It's just like, whoa. I was in these homes that were built, and they're like, it was just crazy. And this village, it was like reminding me like a Quentin Tarantino movie, it's something like or like a Clint Eastwood movie. Like it would be like one of those, sets in an old Clint Eastwood movie, or some kind of like, I don't know, like some. Just they were incredible, and I had an incredible experience up there, and a great day up there, and learned so much, and learned about the Druze community and their history and their ties to Israel, and their history and their ties to Palestine, and they've been there before Israel was created. They were there before Gaza was, they just been there, and they're loyal, and they're fierce, and they're tough, but they're peaceful, but they are tough. They don't fuck around. They're not scared of anybody. And Saturday, a horrible thing happened. A horrible thing happened in another Druze village called Majal Shams. I hope I'm saying it correctly. During the day, a missile from Hezbollah. And if you don't know who Hezbollah is a terrorist regime, a terrorist, miserable, radical, Islamic, dumb. These people are so fucking dumb. From Lebanon, and I've been studying and learning and listening and reading, and the amount of bad decision after bad decision that all these places and these leaders of these terrorist regimes have made for so long. They're so dumb because they're so short-sighted. The short-sightedness and the bad decision after bad. I can understand a bad decision and maybe another bad decision and even a third bad decision. But when you go into fifth, sixth, and seventh bad decision, you're a fucking idiot. And I know the innocent civilians and the Christian community of Lebanon does not want another war. They don't want more war. I know that the innocent people of Iran don't want another war. I know that they tried to stand up, and I know that they've tried to protest, and I was one who wasn't paying attention, and the world didn't pay enough attention. The world didn't pay enough attention. And I don't know how to fix it. I ain't no fucking genius. But Hezbollah has been sending rockets and missiles to Israel since October 8th. There are 100,000 displaced people, 100,000 displaced people in northern Israel. The size of Israel has shrunk because 100,000 people have had to leave the north of Israel because of these these Hezbollah They're the of Iran. The little whores, the streetwalkers, the $15 suckers of Iran. And they have been bombing and sending rocket after rocket and missile after missile. And the Iron Dome is working overtime to knock down their cheap, corroded bag, homemade missiles. And they have they're not, these Hezbollah people are not to be around with. They're scary. They're formidable. Iran funds them. And they want smoke. It seems like they want. Not it seems like. They do. They want smoke. They want a war. Because they've been with Israel, with Israel, with Israel since October 8th. It's every day. To the point where the size of Israel's population has went south. They've had to leave. They've abandoned. They've left their homes and their villages. They've left their neighborhoods because they're getting bombed by the border of Lebanon. And this weekend, these suckers, during the middle of the day, got one of their rockets or missiles. I don't know what the difference is. They got one of their rockets through in this beautiful, peaceful village that's predominantly Druze, and killed 12 kids. They killed 12 kids. And it was very easy. The IDF, after they cleaned up the carnage and they got the missile that got through, to figure out that it came from Hezbollah, the little whores of Iran. And of course, Hezbollah, just like any good lying little whore, they denied it was them. And the media and Hezbollah, more importantly, they said it wasn't us. It was a misfire from the Iron. Israel did it. It was Israel's Iron Dome misfiring and killing their own. And the way it was reported by BBC, what a piece of shit, fake news organization, anti-Semitic, miserable, fake news, the Washington Post, fuck you also. CNN, the way they word things, CNN, you Jake Tapper. It's like, well, I've done so much for Israel. You haven't done enough, motherfucker. I don't know if this guy has ownership in CNN or he's like the Phil Jackson of CNN, Jake Tapper. Do better, motherfucker. Because as soon as Israel does something, it's clearly Israel did this, that, and the third. Hezbollah does it, and you report all these news organizations. Hezbollah denies it. We got the fucking missile. We know it was Hezbollah. They killed 12 innocent kids between the ages of 6 and 20 playing soccer on a gorgeous Saturday in the summer of northern Israel. And I know some of you cocksuckers like, well, what about has Israel done? What about the hospitals? You don't know what you're talking. I don't even acknowledge you people because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. When there's a tragedy like this, I don't talk to the watermelon fucks. I don't talk to you pro-Palestinian, self-hating, self-loathing, cosplay masked up freaks. My heart goes out to the families. My heart goes out to the entire community up there. And now Israel is in a conundrum because we're approaching 300 days since October 7th. 300 fucking days. And the IDF last week found five bodies of hostages, 5 bodies of hostages of civilians that were killed on October 7th. And the bodies were found in a tunnel. But they weren't just, placed in a tunnel. They were buried behind a wall that was built to hide the bodies. That's a fact. And the way they got to the 5 hostages that were buried in a wall in a tunnel is because one of the martyrs, he rolled over. They probably squeezed him. They probably fucking guilted him. I don't know what they do to these fucks. I know you're not supposed to waterboard these suckers. I would go to jail. If it was me, I'd be in prison because I'd be waterboarding these suckers, be smacking them around, talking about their moms, talking about their dads, telling them there's no virgins waiting for you, scumbag. I don't care what kind of book you read. I don't care what your mother told you, what your father told you. I don't care what the your homeboys down the street told you that you were playing dominoes with. There ain't no virgins waiting for you, you punk ass motherfucker. But they were able, because one of these Hamas terrorists gave the IDF information and took them to the tunnel. They took this terrorist creep sucker and he guided them to the tunnel, and they found these bodies buried behind a wall. They built a wall, a cement wall, and they got the bodies. They retrieved these bodies. This is the lengths that these people go to. They don't do anything constructive for their people, but they build the shit out of some tunnels, and they build walls in the tunnels to bury bodies. This is their focal point. This is what I'm talking about. Bad decision after bad decision. Short-sighted, dumb f***s. And now the IDF, Israel, they're going to strike back. As of the recording of this podcast, they've already targeted and eliminated some more terrorists out of Lebanon from Hezbollah. And this is bad. It's very, very bad because they've been poking the bear. Iran's just sitting back like, we don't know. And Hezbollah is poking the bear. The Houthis poked the bear. They f***ed around and found out. Not that that's funny, but they f***ed around and found out. And I would just love to see if the Houthis, the little of Iran, the Hezbollah of Iran, and the rest of these little of Iran, if they just left Israel alone. You do you, and we will do us. You do you, and we will do us. What would happen? Why can't that happen? Why don't you just leave Israel alone? Let's do an experiment. Let's do 10 years, 5 years. You don't with us, we don't with you. 5-year ceasefire across the board. You do you, and we'll do us. And again, I ain't no genius, but we need, listen, staying Donald Trump, smoking Joe Biden, whoever's in office, Kamala, smoking Joe Biden. If you want to bring some dignity, you want to bring some self-respect to the last 6 months while you're in office, squeeze these from Iran, squeeze them dry, put tariffs, put sanctions on these motherfuckers, letting them sell their oil to China, selling cheap oil to China, putting billions of dollars in Iran's pocket. China, the government, Iran, the government, squeeze these dry. Because based on what I know, that's the one thing that dick-stained Donald Trump. And as soon as smoking Joe Biden came in, he lifted the tariffs and lifted the sanctions on Iran, who are good for nothing, that terrorist regime of Iran. Anyway,